You're someone who wants to understand the good stuff, right?
Hmm.
Get to the heart of what makes something interesting without getting bogged down.
Hmm.
That's exactly what we're doing today. We're taking a really cool turn at the intersection of high-performance cars and incredibly detailed watchmaking.
Right.
And we're focusing on Singer and their brand new Heritage Collection chronographs.
Absolutely. Now, most people will immediately connect the name Singer with their, well, stunning work restoring and reimagining classic Porsche 911s.
Yeah, the cars are incredible.
They really are. But they've also been creating quite a stir in the watch world lately, with some very distinctive
Like the
pieces.
track one.
Exactly. The Trek 1, which had that really innovative central chronograph display, very different.
Yeah, no subdials in the usual
And
ways.
also the dive track, which was, again, quite unique.
Right, and those earlier watches, they really pushed boundaries, didn't they?
Yeah.
Design, mechanics, how it was all presented.
Right.
But with this new Heritage Collection, it feels like Singer is, I don't know, circling back a bit, back to that rest-a-mod idea they're so famous for with the cars.
That's a great way to put it.
And the thing that really caught my eye is that these new chronographs have a more traditional two-register layout. And get this, they're using restored new old-stock Valjoux 236 movements.
Yeah, that's the really fascinating part. What's truly insightful here is Singer's commitment to not just, replicating history, but actively preserving and enhancing it.
Okay.
They're offering this tangible link to a golden age of mechanical watchmaking, but it's imbued with modern reliability and finishing.
So old soul, modern standards.
Precisely. This isn't just about owning a beautiful object. It's about possessing a piece of horological heritage really thoughtfully revitalized.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some great material that really digs into the specifics of these new watches.
Perfect.
So our goal today is to really explore what makes them so special mechanically and from a design perspective, and kind of understand Singer's whole philosophy with this collection.
Okay, so let's unpack this rest-a-mod philosophy a bit more. For people who know the Singer cars,
Yeah.
it's all about taking an iconic Porsche 911 and just masterfully blending its timeless look with, cutting-edge engineering, modern performance.
Right. Classic design, but enhanced with all the benefits of today's tech. Better brakes, more power, reliability.
Exactly.
And what we're seeing with the Heritage Collection is a direct translation of that same core idea, straight into watchmaking.
But instead of a car chassis.
Right. Instead of starting with a vintage car chassis and engine, they're beginning with a genuine vintage mechanical movement, this Valjoux 236 as the fundamental base.
The heart of it.
Yeah, the heart, and then constructing a modern watch around it. It's a really compelling parallel, I think.
It really is. Now, let's take a closer look at the watch itself. The case, maybe?
Sure.
It comes in at a very wearable 38.8 millimeter diameter. Stainless steel.
Which is a great size for a lot of people.
Mm.
Not too big, not too small.
And it's also relatively slim, 11.75 millimeter thick. That sounds like it would feel really comfortable on the wrist.
It does, and the finishing on that case is also quite remarkable. You've got that sunray satin finish.
It sort of radiates from the center.
Yeah, gives it a subtle shimmer. And that's contrasted by mirror polished tampers on the edges.
Those angled, shiny bits that catch the light.
Exactly. And polished pushers, too. It's all about adding that kind of tactile richness, that visual depth.
Nice.
And then there's the glass box sapphire crystal on top. Gives you that vintage domed look.
But tough. Scratch resistant.
Right. And the display case back is a fantastic touch. You get to actually see that restored movement working away.
Always love a display back on something like this. And the details continue, right? The flat, fluted crown.
Yeah, adds a bit of grip, some visual interest. Classic touch.
And the water resistance is 50 meters, which, is fine for everyday wear.
Mm-hmm. Splashes, rain, that kind of thing.
But maybe not for serious swimming. Feels like maybe a deliberate choice. Leaning towards that classic resto side, maybe?
I think that's likely. It fits the overall vintage chronograph vibe. Now, let's turn our attention to the dials, because this is really where Singer's design DNA comes through strongly.
Okay.
Two options. Rich empire green and a timeless piano black.
Ooh, that green sounds nice.
It looks fantastic in the pictures, and both have this stunning lacquered finish that actually extends right into the subdials. Very glossy, very deep.
So it's not just the main dial surface.
No, it creates a really seamless look.
They sound beautiful.
Mm.
And there's this gold-toothed flange around the edge.
Yeah, encircling the dial. Apparently that's a direct homage to their 1969 series watches.
Ah, okay. So another nod to the past. It's that kind of subtle connection that I think Singer does so well.
Absolutely. And then you have their signature circular brushed cap on the central hands.
Right, I've seen that before on their watches.
It's a relatively small detail, but instantly recognizable Singer, right? And it draws inspiration from the gauges in vintage Porsche 911 dashboards.
Love that. A great link back to their automotive roots.
Ties it all together.
So those thoughtful details really connect the story. What about the markers and hands?
The hour markers are described as short, faceted, and gold-colored. Applied, not printed.
Adds depth.
And the applied Singer logo is up at 12 o'clock, naturally. The hands themselves are also quite distinctive, open-worked, rhodium-plated, sword style.
With luminous orange tips.
Exactly. For legibility, that splash of orange is a very nice touch.
Yeah, a bit of modern pop against the classic dial.
Right, and the subdials have contrasting beige markings. You've got a 30-minute counter at 3 o'clock, running seconds over at 9.
Standard 2-register chrono layout.
Pretty much. And then the central chronograph seconds hand is also orange, which again is kind of a Singer signature color accent.
Great, but let's get to what I think is the real, heart and soul of this watch. The thing that makes it truly unique.
Yeah.
That restored Valjoux 236 movement.
Absolutely. This is the main event, mechanically speaking.
This isn't just any off-the-shelf movement, is it?
Definitely not. The Valjoux 236 is a manually wound chronograph movement. It's a respected successor to the very well-regarded Valjoux 23.
Okay.
And this version runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour, a nice classic beat rate. But what's truly fascinating, as you said, is that Singer sourced genuine, never-used vintage examples, new old stock.
Wow. So these are essentially time capsules, untouched pieces of mechanical history.
Pretty much. And then Singer takes these remarkable movements and gives them, a very thorough restoration.
What does that involve?
Complete disassembly, meticulous cleaning, careful lubrication, and then finishing them to what the sources describe as higher standards than they originally had.
So they're making them better than new, in a way.
In terms of finishing, yes, it's part of that mod aspect of Restomod.
Wait, so what specific enhancements are we talking about?
Well, the bridges of the movement get this contemporary matte frosted effect. It gives it a modern texture.
Right.
But then, crucially, the edges are all painstakingly hand-beveled and polished. Anglage.
The shiny edges. Classic high-end finishing.
Yeah. Exactly. It introduces that beautiful brilliance, really showcases the traditional craft. They've also applied rhodium plating.
For looks and durability.
Both. Makes it brighter, protects against tarnishing.
And I think the sources mentioned some components might have been upgraded or replaced, too.
They did mention that, yes. It would be interesting to know exactly which parts, but they don't specify. But the fundamental architecture of the Valjoux 236 remains. You still get that highly sought-after traditional column wheel.
Which chronograph fans love.
Oh, yeah. Column wheel and horizontal clutch layout. Very classic, very nice to operate. And to make it clear, these are restored vintage movements. Each one is marked restored by Singer.
That's a fantastic detail. Really underscores that whole Restomod idea right there on the movement.
Absolutely.
Now, what about straps? Sounds like a couple of options.
Yes, you have a choice. There's a classic-looking grained black leather strap. Comes with contrasting brown stitching.
Okay.
Or a slightly more maybe casual khaki green textile strap with matching khaki stitching. Both come with a simple, secure stainless steel pin buckle. Nothing too fancy there, just functional.
So putting it all together then.
Yeah.
What's the overall impression? It really does sound like they've pulled it off, bringing that car Restomod approach to watches.
I'd say absolutely. It's a very compelling fusion, isn't it? Vintage soul, modern execution, and that meticulous eye for detail Singer is known for.
Yeah.
The sources seem particularly taken with the Empire Green version. Seems to have this real warmth and richness.
I can imagine.
But beyond just the looks, the fact that it's powered by this painstakingly revised